Hi, everyone. My name's Nate from Adaptive Sports Partners of the North Country, and we're starting to shift our focus to our Alpine ski and ride season, and we want you to join us. So we're joined today by Jacki Katzman and some of our other staff at the office, and we're going to look at prepping for your first day out on snow. Think on the chairlift, think you're getting ready to race, and we want to help you get your body and mind into the Alpine kind of thought process. So we hope you join us for this season of Alpine prep videos.
All right, and with that, let's all take a deep breath and settle into your firm chair. This is a lesson that we're going to be doing on a firm chair. If you have a back, that's okay. If you're someone who uses a wheelchair, you might want to lock down the wheels at this point and adjust the foot rests so that your thighs are level and your feet would be, your knees are going to be level with your hip. If you're in a chair and you're a little bit low, you might want to put something under your feet. If your knees are up a little high, you might want to put something under your tush to get yourself up a little bit. So I'll give you guys a second to get organized. And then we will start to get into our heads as if we are on the lift. And it's the first day. And it's sunny. It's gorgeous. We are so excited. So let's find our seat. Let's find our ground. So sitting now so that you can feel your sit bones. And those sit bones are those pointy little bones that we can rock over as if on a rocking chair. And just noticing now, are you even? Maybe one side's a little tipped, feels tipped in one side. Maybe one side feels a little ahead of the other side. That's all good. It's fine. What we're doing here is tuning into the way that we move now, today, so that we can identify maybe some little thing that you could improve even before you got out on the mountain, or something that you might want to pay attention to when you get out on the mountain so that you know what to expect from your skis, from your equipment. So we're going to begin by thinking about the back. And we're going to imagine that there's some point in the center of the back, and we're going to just arch into the center of the back. So you maybe take a breath and exhale and find that center of the back and make your back very long. Feel like the vertebrae are coming apart as you make your back long. Maybe you think about pressing into the back of the chairlift, pressing into the back. And maybe as you notice you press into the back, you rock back a little bit on your sit bones. So pressing into the back, rocking back. You might even be holding your poles, and you can kind of lift those poles up a little bit and feel how your back gets wider as you rock into somewhere in the center of your back. And maybe you start to feel that you're loosening up a little bit. You could also put your hands on the bar of the rest. And that'll help you feel what's happening in the hips also happens in the shoulders. And the shoulders get a little wider. And don't forget to breathe. So maybe you take a deep breath in, and then on the exhale, you find that center point in your back. And a few more. Good. And now let that imaginary center point come up a few vertebrae. So if you started somewhere around here, maybe it's up near more the top of your back. And again, kind of arching into this new point in the upper part of the back. So maybe you have to kind of reach up and over the back of the rest of the chairlift. And maybe you kind of exhale as you stretch back there. And you can even use your hands on either your poles on your lap or on the bar to kind of get a little more push back there, get a little more opening. And notice it helps to kind of exhale when you're doing that opening thing. Yeah, that's it. Good. And a few more times. And then let it go for a minute and just notice if now that you've been doing a little bit of loosening up in the front, loosening up in the top, loosening up in the middle. Now we're going to move that point that we've been rocking into a little bit lower. So maybe just where the bottom of the lift bar is, so lower. And again, pressing back. Now, when you're lower, you may not feel it in the shoulder blades as much, but you might feel it in the hips more. So a little less in the shoulder blades, but maybe more in the hips. And noticing maybe that it's a little easier if you exhale when you press into that spot. Good. And keeping it easy. Just thinking though, you know, if it happens to be really cold, this is something that you can do to kind of keep a little warmer. And then let that go for a second. And just sit and feel those sit bones again. And notice now if maybe your shoulders are resting over your hips in a different way. Maybe you can let your eyes come to the horizon, looking up to the top of the hill there. And then let's go back to just that middle point and see what that's like. So again, now pressing into that middle part of the back. And maybe on the exhale makes it easier. And can you go a little further than you did the last time? And then when you return to center, maybe you can think about letting your chest lift a little bit and finding that lift that you sometimes find in a turn. And then let that go, space out, look down. Notice that somebody lost a glove down there. That's going to be a bummer. And just feel how your sit bones are resting on the chair. Maybe feel the weight of the boots and even the skis or the board on your feet and how connected your feet can be to the ground. And now we're going to add a slight twist. And I think this will be relevant for the snowboarders, but I'm not sure because I don't do it. So I want you to take one elbow and wrap it on the opposite knee. And then the other elbow drops over it. That's it. Good. And now finding that middle point in the back that you had before, kind of arching into that middle point again. But now in this twist. So the spine gets long. The spine is getting longer with a little bit of a twist. So it's a nice warm up. And longer with a little bit of a twist. And then like we did the last time, mentally moving that point that you're arching into further up, maybe just at the top of the shoulder blades or just where the back of the lift would hit. But now you're leaning over, you've got your feet on the bar and you're far enough forward that you have a little bit of flex, but you're not going to fall off. And again, arching up now. So there's a bit of a lift as you find that point in the spine where you're kind of pushing up into. And you might find that it's a little easier to take a breath and then exhale to make room for that arching. Always breathing. Good. Good. And then down low. So now the focal point is lower. So you're going to find more rocking in the pelvis, less movement in the upper back, and you can have your nose pointed in the same direction as the knee that you're bending over. So the opposite knee arm is on the bottom, the same side arm is on top, and now kind of rocking deep down low in the pelvis. And I don't know for sure, but I have the feeling this might be relevant for snowboarders, for the way that you use your weight on the board. You might even feel your weight sliding forward and back on the foot. You could even use your foot to push a little bit back to help make that spine very long. And exhaling and finding that. And see if you can really use that same side foot to kind of push a little bit. See if you can find that movement from the foot to the knee to the hip as you push into that lower part of the spine. And then come back to the center of the spine. Keep your nose pointed in the direction of the knee. That's it. And a few more into the center of the spine. And if you can imagine it, it's like the spine is getting longer and the vertebrae are coming apart. And maybe I'll bring in Mr. Skeleton one of these days. Good. All right, let that go. Sit up center for a moment. And just feel what it's like now that you've done some center work. You've been off to one side. And in a minute, we'll get to the other side. But first, just stay with it. Does the side that you've been working feel a little different? Maybe more open, maybe more alive, maybe lighter, maybe heavier. Just notice. And then we'll go the other way. So now the opposite arm comes to the knee you haven't used yet. And then the other arm drapes over. And we'll start by nose pointing in the same direction as that knee. So your whole spine is kind of pointed off to the corner. So trying to think of an image, you're just looking off. So if you were going up the, whatever the profile lift is and you're watching the skiers come down. So lifting and arching and focusing on that center point in the back. And let your head be heavy. And let your foot help drive the movement of pressing into the foot and letting that come right up to the center of the spine. See if you can find that connection. That's it. Beautiful. And see if now some people are kind of doing an arch forward. We're going to do that next. This time with the arching of rolling the back and making the back round, let your nose come dropping down a little bit. That's and compare that to what it's like to have your head lift. In this position, pressing down with the foot and pushing into the back like that, you're going to find it's a little more natural to let your head go heavy. but we will get into that opposite arch in a minute. So now you can bring the center point up to between the shoulder blades or whatever your higher point is. So again, pressing with the foot and letting that roll right up through the spine. You can let your nose drop a little bit towards your skis, towards your board. And then inhale and come to center, and then exhale, press and find that rolling all the way up to the center of the back. And can you keep both sit bones on the chair while you do that? Good. And then again, bringing your attention down to the lower part of the back. So you're going to feel more rocking this time. So pressing with the foot and letting everything rock into your low back. And it's a little bit of a twist. That's it. Let your head go. That's it. Yep. Good. And it can come up a little when you come to center. That's it. And feel that real rounding. Feel the rounding low, maybe middle again. And then rounding high. Notice how your shoulder blades, as you bring your center of gravity up, your shoulder blades get more engaged. And this is important for any kind of seated equipment. You want to know where your center of gravity is. Good. And let that go and sit up. And we're about halfway up now. So we can stop and look around, see who else is on the mountain. Oh, look, that guy's really good. Good. And now we're going to do that opposite motion that some of you were looking for already. So we're going to be looking for the arch in the back. So the image is there's someone really cute on the chair behind you, and you have eyes right here in your low back. And what you want to do is tip your eyes up so that you can see that cute person in the chair behind you. So the way that you do this tipping is you bring your belly button down and forward and let your low back arch, and you'll find the whole front wants to open up. And this is the movement where you let your nose come forward and up. So really finding length. That's it. That's it. And let it start from the pelvis. Let it start from the pelvis. You're going to find that you want to press a little more with the toes, maybe. So opening up in the back and coming back, and then looking up with your eyes in the back of your tush and down. And it's the opposite movement that we've been doing. So now that we've got the back kind of softened up going this way, now we're going to go this way. Good. So this is the opposite warming up. And then let your chin really rise too. So as you get that arch, 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 front gets long, chin comes up. Maybe you feel your shoulder blades coming together a little bit as you lift. See if you can find that. That's it. Beautiful. Good. That's it. And again, lift. And this is an exaggeration. This is not a movement you're going to use on your skis, but it's getting us ready for a more subtle movement that we will use. Good. And now you're not going to be able to do this on the lift, but you can do it in your imagination. The hands are going to come back, and as you tip your pelvis up so that you're kind of looking at the folks in the chair behind you, you're going to let your hands come behind in a swan dive. So really as you tip forward, you let your front get long, the shoulder blades come together, And really reach forward with your chest and back with your fingers. That's it. Good. And then coming back to center. And you might find that it's an exhale as the shoulder blades come together and you lift that chest. That's it. That's it. And a few more at your own pace. So coming forward, feeling that roll over the sit bones. And noticing, where are your feet? Are you able to get some support for this movement with your feet? So try moving your feet a little bit forward and see what that's like, and see if moving your feet forward gives you a little more room to stretch. And with this movement, that could be like maybe a bit like the skate in Nordic skiing, or the tuck if you're racing. And a few more, and then we'll let that go. And notice now, how are your sit bones resting on the chair? Can you release a little bit and find that natural lift of the chest? Do you feel your head centered more? And now we're almost to the top of the lift, but we're going to go around one more time. So now we have kind of let the spine go this way. And then we've done some this way. We're now going to add a little bit of a twist. So find your feet under your knees and then maybe let them come a little bit more forward. And what we're going to do is drop one arm, you pick your side. One arm drops down to the ground in a fist, and the other arm now comes up. So you're pulling apart as if you had your pole, and now you're twisting and coming forward. Good. And look up at that hand. Get that full twist of the spine and see if you can find anything. That's it. Find anything in the ribs that helps you move more. So can you find that in the arm that's up, can you feel the ribs under your armpit? And can you breathe into them in a little bit? Can you find a way maybe to let that shoulder blade slide towards the spine? You're going to have to experiment with that. I can't tell you how to do it, but come back to center. And then we're going to do that a couple of times at your own pace, but really finding the slide down. So the weight is dropping into one sit bone. It's lifting up off the other sit bone. As the hand comes up, that same sit bone lifts a little bit. And then can you find that forward movement, looking up at that hand, and maybe you even use the lower hand to find the ribs on the top side and feel how they come apart when you inhale and exhale, and let the hands come back down. Yes. And then rest if you're tired. But now notice what it was like to have one side really opened up and the other side crunched. So we'll do the other side now. So make sure that your feet are maybe a little bit ahead. Give yourself some room to move into. Make sure your knees are hip width apart. So one measure of hip width apart is one fist. I'm using maybe two fists because it's going to make you a little bit more stable. And so now let's see. So with the other hand now coming down, maybe you're fixing a boot. Maybe you're working on a buckle here. And the other hand comes up. This side's harder for me. And you're looking at the hand and you're trying to find a way for the ribs on the top side to expand apart. And one of the tricks is to let your shoulder blade drop a little towards the spine and come back up. And we're going to do that a couple times at your own pace. So again, when you're ready, you drop one hand. You can actually turn the whole torso. If you've done yoga, this is any of the triangle poses, but looking up at that hand and really making your spine long. And maybe you even push the down arm against that other leg. Yeah, and back to center. Good. And give it a moment and just feel how that twist now may have softened some of your upper body. Feel your breath coming in and out. So we take a lot of little mini rests here because what we're trying to do is train the nervous system. Exercise is the repetition of motions in order to build that body memory, that muscle memory. What we're doing here is exploring new options that might challenge your nervous system. They might be different from habits. They might be in addition to habits. But whenever the nervous system starts charging, either through learning or through pain, then after a certain point, it just shuts out. So you've probably experienced that where you read the same paragraph 4 times and it's like, no, I still don't know what it says. That's an indication your nervous system is saying I'm topped out. So that's why we're going to take some rests here. And this is especially important for some of the athletes for whom this is going to be like totally new movement. Take a lot of rests. It's really important. The last thing you want to do your first day out is like way overdo it and tear something and then you're out for the whole season. That's just not cool. Okay, so this next one, this next variation is you are going to imagine that your perfect training partner is actually you. And we're going to do this thing. Well, before we do that, everybody just stand up. Stand up. Good. Sit down. And now I want you to take your feet a little further away from the chair. So a little further, half an inch, and then stand up. Good. And then take your feet out just a little further away from the chair. Now, if you're a person who can't stand up out of the chair, that's fine. You just lift up and forward. If you can't stand up, that's fine. Just find this movement of coming forward till the point where you feel like you just are going to tip over. And if you can stand, try one more time with your feet just a little further out and stand up. Great. And then if you're seated, it's just this lift. You can actually use your hands to help push. What we're doing is we're rocking on the pelvis. So now back to the perfect partner. I don't know if you've ever had anyone help you stand up from here, but I'll demonstrate, I'll describe it, and then see if you can find it for yourselves. We're going to guide ourselves to stand by holding the sides of the face. You can, I know I have a lot of hair, kind of cup your ear like this. And now we're going to do that same swan dive thing that we did. So coming down and forward and leading with the elbows, 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 and then see if you can guide yourself to stand up. Great. Good. And then a little bit further forward. So you are being your own teaching partner here. You are drawing yourself forward, 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 and up. Cool. Yeah, it's kind of fun. So what we've done there is we've given the upper part of the body, the weight of the head, some guidance on how to make this movement very smooth. So there's one more variation, and I'm going to have to push this back a little bit. So want you to imagine, and this won't work on the analogy of the lift, but just pretend. So now we're back in the lodge for a second, and down on the floor, your glove has just gone skittering way far away. Or maybe it's your hand warmer or your orange, but we're going to be reaching down and forward. So your eyes look down and along the ground, and you reach forward and see if reaching, you can then stand. So with the one side, and see how smooth a movement you can make that. So you're coming down like we did with that one hand, coming forward, and then lifting up. Good. And use the other hand. Down, forward. Use your eyes. Track it with your eyes. Forward, and up. That's it. Good. So now let's get back on the lift. And we are just about at the top. And we want to make a gorgeous, elegant dismount. So sitting stably, maybe you've got your poles ready. You've got your tips up. And now as the chair brings you forward, you put down your feet, you go with it, and up you come. Yes, ta-da! And back down. Now, the other application for this, of course, is you're in the gate and you're ready. And you've got your poles and you're waiting for the beep. So you can start by doing a little bit of arching and extending. And then as you're in the gate, you're down. And then you remember getting into the swan dive forward and off you go. Right. So that's today's lesson. So thank you all. You guys can unmute if anybody's got anything that they think would be helpful for other volunteers or other athletes. This would be a great time to share that. And I want to especially hear from those snowboarders, see what you think about how this might apply. So do I need to unmute you guys?
I think that was awesome, Jacki. Let's go right down through the list. Just have everybody say who they are and then how they can relate to today's lesson to their ski or ride experience. Why don't we start with Natasha?
Yeah, I thought this was a great experience, and especially the part where we were getting out of the chair. Having warmed up our back first, I really could feel all of that. As it pertains to snowboarders, is maybe not exactly the same thing because we're getting off of the chair sideways. So we're not going to be using that swan dive forward as a skier would. But also having experience as a skier, I thought this was fantastic.
We'll have to think about how to make this swan dive. So if you wanted to apply it, rather than coming forward, you would use that same movement to the side, right? Could you do that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that would help. We'll have to think about that. Good. Michaela, anything?
Yeah, so I was kind of feeling a lot of stretching in one side of my obliques, especially when they did the twisting, and kind of getting it to feel where I had that sensation of making that movement, which is really similar for me, especially in a lot of turns where everything is really coming from my spine. So really kind of strengthening your connection that you have and your body awareness that you have with your spine and where that puts your body in position.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just to make sure everyone at home is familiar, Michaela is a mono skier, so her.
And may I say that whenever I say Michaela's name, I say, my God, that girl is fast.
That is true.
She
How
is
about,
fast.
how about Tim?
Oh, I like how you're talking about the rest in between, because skiing and snowboarding is really a lot of bursts of explosive energy, especially when you're coming out of the gate, and then you get like a rest when you're coming back to your normal balance, and you're getting that explosive energy again going into the beginning of your turn.
Good point. Thank you.
All right, how about Mary?
Yeah, so this has been great. I'm a newer skier and I used to always be afraid of dismounting off the ski lift because I've definitely had some nice falls with that. So keeping this in mind, keeping a center of balance, keeping the back straight, and just as simple as standing up has helped me a lot. So I appreciate today's lesson.
And Jakob.
Hi, I'm Jakob, and I definitely really like this. It really loosened the back. You can really feel it. And I'm also a snowboarder, so the swan dive was definitely for skiing, but I think it could be changed, and you could also stand up sideways the same way.
Cool.
Excellent. And I know for me, the big takeaway is I'm always like rushing into the lodge to get everything ready, and always seem to lose time on stretching and just the importance of getting your body warmed up. And I really felt that in the back today and realized how much more stretching I need to do.
And now you can do it on the lift. It's a good way to save some time or get back some time. All right, so next week, I think we're going to be doing something where we're going to be experimenting with how you press down with one leg in order to get the whole side of the body long, and that facilitates turns. So we'll see how that goes for both skiers and Nordic skiers and snowboarders. And with that, cool, stay safe, get ready, bundle up. Anything else?
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jackie. I hope everyone else is excited to get out for Alpine Nordic ski ride as we are, and we can't wait to get ourselves in better shape.
All right. Ciao.